Hello and welcome to the Webcast for Thursday, July 9th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. The marine layer remains shallow but persistent this morning with a very similar look to the skies this morning as the past couple of days. We can expect the morning marine clouds to burn off quickly today while sunny skies continue across the interior with a very dry air mass overhead. Take a look at our 24-hour relative humidity change. While there is, of course, some variability, many areas, especially in central California, are starting off with 10 to 20% or more lower RH values versus the same time yesterday, which is evidence of the drying of the air mass and the fact that recoveries last night were generally worse than the previous night. With fairly strong high pressure centered almost directly overhead, it is going to be a hot one today, especially in Southern California, with temperatures coming in near to a little warmer than yesterday. We'll see mid-90s to low 100s in the valleys, 105 to 110 in the high desert, 108 to 118 for the low desert, and 80s in the lower mountains. And probably the biggest story today will be that dryness as southwest flow aloft has dragged a very dry air mass into the region. Away from the shallow marine influence, we'll see minimum humidities mainly in the upper single digits and teens this afternoon. And we will see a sizable footprint of poor recoveries away from the lower elevations tonight as thermal belts become more active. While typical local wind patterns will generally prevail, some enhanced west to northwest breeziness is likely through the gaps and passes over the next couple of days due to strong afternoon sea breeze pushes. Friday will be similarly hot and dry to today, but probably a little cooler towards the coast as the marine layer sees some renewed deepening thanks to that breezy onshore flow. A little bit more cooling is likely Sunday and Monday, especially in the deserts and the coastal areas due to increased cloud cover and weaker high pressure, but it will remain warm and the overnight temperatures will also start to trend upwards. Here's a look at Sunday's forecast highs. By late this weekend and early next week, we continue to eye a change in the upper level pattern as high pressure shifts well off to our north and east, changing our wind direction aloft to southeasterly and drawing monsoonal moisture into the region. Scattered showers and thunderstorms may begin to develop over much of the region on Sunday, with this activity likely continuing into early next week. However, there is still a lot of uncertainty on how the upcoming thunderstorm threat will play out, both in terms of timing, how much lightning will or will not occur, and which areas within our region will be at most risk. The latest indications are that there may be very little thunderstorm activity on Sunday, since this current very dry air mass will need some time to moisten up, but that there is still good potential for storms on Monday and beyond. As the air mass moistens up, expect some increase in humidity from Sunday into early next week. Winds should become light overall, with stronger winds possible near any thunderstorm outflows. Some renewed warming is also likely by the middle of next week, especially along and west of the coastal slopes, with temperatures likely becoming a little hotter than the current stretch. We'll also continue to see muggier conditions with temperatures not cooling off as much during the overnights, increasing the overall heat stress. Dead fuel moistures will be on sharp falling trends over the next few days thanks to the hot and dry air mass. They will likely level out and potentially increase, at least in some areas, by late this weekend and into next week, but that will depend on how much moisture we get. ERC values are currently near or approaching the 80th percentile in most PSAs, and will reach or exceed the 90th percentile in some PSAs over the next few days. So in terms of fire potential, it can really be broken down by about the next 3 days or so, and then everything after that. In the near term, the main story will be this warm and very dry air overhead of us through Saturday, with the low daytime RHs, areas of poor recoveries, and afternoon breeziness. These are some very active burning conditions setting up the next few days, and there will be an elevated risk for new large fires as a result. Rapid rates of spread will be possible on well-aligned starts, with increasing potential for fires to extend across burn periods and into heavier fuels. By late this weekend into next week, focus will then turn more to the lightning threat, but it remains highly uncertain how much lightning will occur and what the growth potential would be on any new starts. What can be said is that any lightning that does occur, especially near the onset Sunday or Monday, would likely have a high ignition efficiency due to the current hot and dry weather. So it's definitely a pattern to watch very closely. Expect moderate initial attack activity to continue, potentially becoming heavy early next week, depending on how thunderstorm activity evolves. All in all, a very summer-like forecast and a pattern that could keep fire business on the busy side for a while. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Friday, July 10th.